What's up, world, and welcome back to the Real News Network. I'm Jared Ball. That was the legendary Brand Nubian with their 1993 classic, Punks Jump Up to Get Beat Down. As our next guest argues, from Greece to U.S. streets, there are too many punks in need of an intellectual beatdown. Glen Ford is the executive editor and founder of blackagendareport.com and is here now with us again for his Ford Report. Glen, welcome back to the Real News, and please do tell us about these punks and the intellectual beatdown you think they are in need of.
Well, thanks for having me, Jared. The capitulation, and it was catastrophic and devastating and total. The capitulation by Syriza party leader Tsipras to the demands, the ultimatum rather, of the European Troika really shouldn't have come as a surprise to anybody. In fact, it was really inevitable because the leadership of Syriza never wanted to leave the Eurozone, and they never really wanted to get out from under the bankers that control the Eurozone. All Tsipras and all his crowd wanted was a less painful dictatorship of the moneyed classes. But they decided that they were going to try and bluff the bankers as if they could. And the bankers, of course, called their bluff, and like clockwork, Tsipras pumped out. Tsipras had never planned to fight for the sovereignty and the rights of the Greek people in the first place, which should be clear to everybody by now. And it should be clear because Syriza never made any preparations whatsoever to nationalize the Greek banks so that they could at least create some kind of currency to get them over the bump. That means that they were never serious about the Greeks taking their destiny in their own hands. So these people are not just punks, they are not socialists at all. They are useless, they are hopeless, and the best thing that would happen is if they, or at least the part of that Syriza party that is circled around Tsipras, disappears from the political scene. They've done enough damage. Their greatest crime, and I'm talking about Syriza's crime, not the crimes of the Troika. Their greatest crime was to ask the Greek people to join them in their phony resistance to the rule of the bankers. But they did ask. And when they asked, 61% of the Greek people said no to the Troika's ultimatum. In fact, the 61% of the Greeks were saying to Syriza, we are with you. We're willing to go out into this empty space and fight with you for a new Greece. And then almost immediately, Tsipras and his crowd betrayed them. They pumped out, betraying the people's trust and probably doing great damage to the people's sense of their own ability to make a change in their lives. This is a great problem, a horrific problem for Greece, but it's not just a Greek problem. What we are seeing is the problem of a phony left, the problem of phony socialists. And we have that problem all throughout the developed capitalist countries. In the United States, the people who are at the core of the Occupy Wall Street movement shouted day in and day out about the injustice of the big banks. And they talked about somehow making the big banks smaller. But they always refused to call for the nationalization of the big banks. And nationalization of the big banks, of the banking system, is the first place that you start if you are really about socialism, if you are really about fighting the rule of concentrated capital. As a result, all that Occupy left us was a bunch of slogans talking about the 1% versus the 99%. So, Jared, I think that the lesson in all of this is you don't go around hollering down with the banks or hollering power to the people unless you really mean it. Otherwise, you're just letting the people in for a huge letdown.
Well, Glen Ford, thank you very much for joining us for this edition of the Ford Report here at the Real News Network.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us here at the Real News Network. And for all involved, I'm Jared Ball. And as we usually say, as Fred Hampton used to say, to you we say peace if you're willing to fight for it. So peace, everybody. Catch you in the whirlwind.